So I'm trying my first Auria Maelstrom mission ever on this entire account. Well, it's the only account I've got. But I quite like how the Skitarii plays, and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable on it now. So I'm going to give some harder difficulties a go.
The heretics have cooked up another attempt to poison Tertium, and it starts in the torrent. They're working out of one of the silos and the poison's spreading from there. Once you reach the silo, you can fix this mess and get the water flowing again.
I got myself into the habit of doing some slight tweaks in between build to mission to mission, and so I think from now on, although this build did include some tweaks from the last mission I played, I'm going to try and settle on one particular playstyle and then just see how successful or not that is, and then maybe give another build a go and get used to that and just see how effective various builds are for my playstyle. This run was carried by the two legendary technical players. But I still think the other two players, me and this other zealot, were holding our own. I was trying to suppress those Reapers there, but I've got to be careful about firing too deep into this next area, because you can activate more than you want. Just trying to provide some suppressing fire. It's a good idea to try and limit how much aggro you can bring on your team. Get down into a better position. I heard a trapper on the right, but couldn't see where. There we are. Now that was a bad habit of me diving into a corridor, picking up some loot without even seeing what was actually down that corridor. So that's something to work on. Couldn't locate the burster. But I think it was coming from the front. I wanted my servo skull to take out that sniper. You can, because it's lingering over your left shoulder, you can sometimes keep cover while it does the business. Trying to get away from that grenade. This is a bit of a shooting gallery, so I tried to engage on the range gunners. I very often found myself with few places to go. I was sprinting just to avoid getting shot by the sniper. Oh, I didn't have my fucking blades out. That was a bit of delightful in-game commentary. I think I thought I had my transonic blades in hand after doing the cold claw strike. because I was doing a core claw strike, which is inherently melee. Trusting my team to deal with what's behind me. Oh, I just panicked my way into a mess. I heard a melee hit coming in behind me, and I should have dodged. And it's the worst enemy to get hit by if you don't dodge, which is a crusher. Where's the sniper? Okay.
It don't matter to me, not unless he's paying off. Yeah, I'm getting that.
Oh, I can see a Maelstrom up there, so I path my way up there. I don't normally go out of my way to get things like that, but I know that this kind of thing could be clutch in terms of not dying or preventing a death in the future. I could use my stim right now to prevent my death, but I know that we are this med station right here that we're ever so close to. But this onslaught just doesn't seem to stop, and we end up having to fall back. There's definitely no shame in retreating. But you do want to be doing that kind of maneuver as a team. Can I now get a heal? No. Now I can. Try and keep pace with the team. When I'm playing at lower difficulty missions, it's very common for us to just try and find all the loot. But at Auric level and in Havoc's, you don't really have that luxury because the game director will be constantly throwing enemies at you and taking a little diversion to go and get potentially some stims or potentially some ammo. Could mean that you find neither of those things and then you end up having even more enemies spawned on you. So I think at harder difficulties the idea is just to keep moving as much as possible. I almost swapped out my stim there, so I want to keep that. I see Sapphire is on his last life, so I'm going to try and find a moment to give him this stim. I'm mindful of the fact that this could be a deathless run still. Oh, I was trying to get the stim on this other guy, but he won't stand still. Managed to find a relatively calm moment where he was not doing much moving.
Once we go down, there's no way back up.
Tend your weapons with diligence.
I don't know any other way to be.
force forward because of the gas a little bit. I want to try and get that sniper. Oh, I hadn't noticed that there was a Daemonhost back there. I definitely woke it up, but I wasn't sure if it was on me or not. Who's it on? But it looks like it was on Sapphire, and Sapphire is just soloed it. I could hear a flaming behind us, but I wasn't really sure whether it had been dealt with or not. I didn't want that creeping up behind us. I think my servo scholar possibly engaged with this room for lack of any other targets. But in the end, not too much trouble. Oh, trying to use that pillar to save me from any jumps from the dog. Also using it to protect from the burster as well. Oh, got another health sim there, that's good. Need to get in before that tox bomb goes off. Yeah, burster. Oh. I just got body blocked. Did not have any awareness of what was happening in front. There was so much going on behind. But if you're going to go down, next to the med station is probably one of the best places to do it.
And be ready to defend yourself.
For this part of the map, my favourite tactic is to sort of guard the two drop points. But most of it comes from this right hand side when facing backwards.
This ain't done.
Only to spread the truth.
Dog coming. I can see it's going for me. The electrocution is generally does well against rages. So melee crits are triggering the electrocution, which gives you just a brief second to either keep them stun locked or get them down. I wasn't sure how many members of our team were in the lift. I wanted to act as a bit of a diversion there, but they were all in the lift quite quick. And let those guys deal with the bursters. I needed to try and suppress those gunners on the right. Using the lift as a little bit of cover. But I can see our team is actually progressing and I need to catch up. I'm going to try and catch up to the rest of the team. Now cut off from a retreat path. We have to move forwards. Can hear a burster. Can hear a mutant. I didn't want to get caught by the mutant. Oh no. Oh, and the burster. I thought that the... there we go. I did a claw strike just to get a little bit of toughness back. But I didn't want to get caught by the mutant and the burster at the same time. But sadly, ironically, that's exactly what happened. And in the gas, no less. There's normally quite a few gunners around here. I'm trying to just litter the area with bullets. Some rages coming in. We've had conversations recently among my game group about the pros and cons to shooting and pushing bursters. I think certainly at this level, when the horde is very thick and you don't have line of sight of a burster, pushing is the only option. And I think that's most often the case, so it tends to be the default. Somehow managed to avoid all the mutants. I wanted to dive into this side alley just to get a little bit of extra cover. This makes a nice fight point.
Time for a crown.
Priority target. Flavor.
Sure, it's a long way down.
At least you grabbed on, it's a long way down.
Diamond.
I like to try and go for a little bit of cover whenever there are dogs. So it reduces the number of angles you have to be aware of. There's a Daemonhost there. I don't want to start on it, but apparently Sapphire does. I can hear some more dogs coming, so rather than trying to help deal with the Daemonhost, I'll check the thing a bit from any crowd control. Don't want to be trapped. Your team dealt with the Daemonhost very well. I think that's why they don't mind starting on it. Again, it's good to be aware of what's behind you. Keep pace with the team. I'm quite wary of that barrel, so I didn't want to go and open up entirely in that corner in case it popped the barrel up against my teammate. And I thought I'd dealt with that Reaper, but I need to just get in range a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but that when I took out that basic gunner, I just got enough bullets in my gun from doing my melee fight to get enough ammo to do it. This guy needs getting back up. I think I sent my skull over to res him. Trying to suppress anything that I can. Inside the back of the room is probably the safest area. We're not getting assaulted from multiple sides. You can probably hear a little bit of wind coming through the room because it's very hot and I've got all doors and windows open and there's a little breeze coming through. So I'm sorry about the audio quality. Don't get hit by the sniper. I'm trying to spot the sniper, but there's actually a guardrail in the way. If you're not directly dealing with the burster, it's best to get away. That's probably a better strategy than actually trying to shoot it as it's approaching someone else. In general, I think that whoever's closest to a burster should be the one that decides how they deal with it, because they're the one who has to deal with the repercussions of it bursting. Do a very poor job of attacking those mutants. I think I was quite wary of thrusting my way into their grab range. It's always worth having a little look behind you just to see if there's anything coming again still. The rest of the team has moved off to the right, up ahead. Try and keep themselves out of the way, maybe doing a little bit of looting, but I was sprinting to make sure I was immune to the gunner until I could deal with this dog. And then back to sprinting again for the follow-up shot. And actually I can just ping a bunch of units for my servo skull to delete while I'm sprinting. feel like we're about to progress. There's actually a surprise unit of Ragers behind us. So a couple of cold claw strikes, swipes to just clear out all these units. Get out of that gas. Hey, that bomber's come from the right. There he is. Oh, I need to try and go down there. An interesting property of the Auria Skull is that you don't need to be active in order for you to still control your skull. So you can be grabbed, you can be downed, you can be hanging off a ledge. I think the only situation other than death where you can't control your servo skull is when you've been eaten by a Nurgle, because then I think the skull is also consumed. But that's the only situation I've discovered so far. Trying to find that sniper. Another reminder there that sliding doesn't stop you getting hit by melee. Here it goes very wrong. Oh, that was quite the wombo combo. But as you can see, I'm down, but I'm still trying to ping targets to get rid of them. And my servo skull is actually just doing a fine job of protecting me. I think I was quite lucky in dodging the dog. Just wanted to get my bearings a little bit. Now I've had a bit of space and I can use my stim. Because if I go down again, I'll be dead. Saw a dog, but I thought the sniper was a higher priority target. Try and get back closer to my team. And actually, we need to make some progress towards the next part of the objective. Now this could have gone very wrong. I should have made a decision to get out. Oh! I was lucky that the burst of diving into my position as I was running past it actually gave me more distance away from it. When you're struggling for a bit of space, the Cold Claw Strike is very good for just making a nice little opening for you. Lost sight of the dog, but I don't think it mattered all that much. Trying to see if I can get rid of that sniper. Couldn't find it, but my servo skull dealt with both the bomber and the mutant in a single activation. Again, try and converge with the team. I can hear a burster over on the right side. I know I'm not dealing with it, so I'm actually just moving away from the situation in case it goes wrong. just as the gates open, we get another series of gas exploding on us, which forces us to move out of the area.
I'll count that as a win.
And actually, I think have some of our team moved in regardless. I know I want to get back to in range of my team, but I don't want to just beeline it and then take a bunch of damage on the way. Did we have someone die? I don't know if we had someone die. No, we didn't. But that was hectic. Don't Dawdle is the name of the game at high difficulty, it seems. But sometimes there's just so much stuff to deal with that you can't make progress. But that's okay, as long as you're acting as a team and not being a drag and going off on your own. Then I think you're doing fine. Completed a Auria Maelstrom mission. Nice. It's only really in the last week or so that I've actually been doing Auric levels, Auric difficulty at all. So to do the Maelstrom at first time of asking was pretty good. So that was good. It felt hectic, but it was good. It's quite bright in my room at the moment, so I struggle to see what's going on sometimes. But yeah, so let's have a look at the build which I was using for that. So I was doing a lot of gunning to try and suppress enemy fire. So both the Ceaseless Barrage, which gives suppression, up to 100% suppression with extended or continuous fire. I've maxed out Collateral because that feeds into suppression and staggering, range staggering. Ammo because I want to have as much uptime on my firing as possible. I've scrimped on mobility, which I think only really affects sprint speed, dodge distance. There's something else as well, but it certainly doesn't affect your stamina rate that you're using when you're sprinting. So I've dumped mobility because what I want to be able to do is get as much uptime on stripped down, staying above 50% stamina as possible with this gun. So the damage perks are on Maniacs and Flak Armored. There's just a lot of Flak Armored gunners out there which need to die quick. And Maniacs, if I'm ever caught short with my gun out and I've got mutants and ragers that happen to be in my face, if I haven't got the wherewithal to switch to my melee weapons, then I want to down those as quickly as possible with my braced auto gun. If I do have my melee to hand and I've got things like ragers in my face, then I'm trying to do as many crits as possible, which feed into my electro strike conduit. So whenever you crit with melee, you electrocute the first target hit. Usually, because they're so quick, that will be a rager. So that's a good way of mitigating damage. I know that there are other boosts here. So weakness analysis will proc a 10% damage boost against electrocuted and burning targets. That's got very good uptime with the Artificer Service Skull, particularly Noospheric Command. And on top of the damage for electrocuted targets, you've got this Retribution Conduit. That's extra damage. You can apply 10% brittleness whenever you electrocute a target. So all of those are good for boosting your damage against electrocuted targets, but I'm simply using this as a way of mitigating damage. So if I ever find myself short on charges for my Cord Claw Strike, which I have in the past, for taking out crushers or bulwarks, then I can rely on my melees, my melee strikes doing a lot of crits with Last Stand, keeping things like crushers and bulwarks stun locked. So within the time frame that a crusher can be stunned from your electrocution, you can very easily get some more critical strikes in, and that just continues the chain of stun locking. So I was trying to ping as many targets as possible. As you can see with my new Spheric command, that deletes quite a few targets. You can activate this when you're sprinting as well, so not only are you immune to ranged fire from gunners, but you can take them out quite nicely as well just by sprinting around and double ping them with the new Spheric command. Medicated service goal for just emergency getting people back up without having to spend time doing it manually myself or running over there and clearing whatever's attacking them. I try not to go to double up on these because they both use grenade slots, and I would rather keep medicated service goals in the bank. So I also had a bit of wave clear with my axial slash on my Cord Claw Strike. That helps clear out quite a bit every now and then, and you're getting a boost in capacitance regeneration whenever you do that. Well, you get that boost whenever you use your Cord Claw Strike, but I feel like it's more effective with the axial slash because you're hitting more targets, not just in terms of what you're killing, particularly in trash and the lighter side of the medium targets, but I feel like there's some mathematics in there that gives you more capacitance when you hit more targets. It's definitely not 100. If you hit 4 targets and you kill 4 targets with the swipe, you definitely don't get 100% back in 5 seconds. But it feels like there's definitely more than just the standard 1 target, which you would get if you did the standard Cord Claw Strike. So I'm not sure what the mathematics is on this one. It may be some form of multiplicative, maybe diminishing returns. I'm not sure. But as you can see, I like to spam my new Spheric command and have these in reserve for emergency wave clear or emergency heavy clear for the thrust. I'm still trying to get used to remembering, because I'm new to the axial slash, remembering to hold for a regular thrust, single target, heavy damage, compared to just tapping for the axial slash. So in order to facilitate having lots of new Spheric commands and Cord Claw Strikes, I'm going for the red line capacitors, which gives me not only capacitance, but it gives me extra ability charges, so I have a bigger pool of charge to use, and then I'm giving myself extra ability charges with this modifier as well. So toughness, there's lots of toughness in this build. Surge extension, whenever I gain a red line capacitor charge, that's 25% over 5 seconds. That is a healthy amount of toughness over 5 seconds. And critical strikes, I'm getting toughness over 3 seconds and toughness damage reduction. I'm aiming for toughness replenishment and toughness damage reduction in this build, or general damage reduction. Critical strikes, toughness replenishment, toughness replenishment, toughness replenishment. These ranged talents can all be propped by the Artificer Servo Skulls, so your toughness damage reduction, your toughness gains over 5 seconds, which stacks multiple times, and also the Galvanic Marking Array, which can also stack multiple times, and that's actually got one of the longest buff durations, so the uptime on that is fairly reasonable. I try not to be a drain on the team's reserves of ammunition, so I like to take this restoration pod, and whenever it's hectic and you've used up your ammunition and you've had to resort to going to melee because you need to fight stuff immediately, it's nice to be able to keep dealing with things in melee and then switch back to your gun and have it ready to go, because taking out a trapper, for example, or a flamer, or anything that can ruin your day, bombers, for example, they are priority targets. So, and this all this toughness and toughness damage reduction feeds into my power overflow to try and keep the rest of the team top in terms of toughness. So my Artificer Servo Skull and my Cord Claw are doing the heavy lifting in terms of damage output. I'm trying to keep enemies, particularly gunners, suppressed with my Ceaseless Barrage and the collateral passive from this braced autogun. Stamina, toughness are the three main blessings, and I've got toughness, sprint efficiency, and revive speed across the board. I could probably swap out the toughness for something like ability recharge, but I don't find myself hugely in need of ability charge. I think I've got enough with my current talents, which are giving me 1% capacitance each second, which is 50% on top of the passive or the standard default 2%. So that cuts a third of your time. So from 50 seconds down to 30 something, 36 maybe, and then because I'm critting so often, particularly with the transonic blades, they're kitted out for maximum crits, mainly to keep what I'm fighting in melee under control with the electrocutions, but that is also feeding into both getting toughness and getting capacitance back. So, but if you do multiple crits in quick succession, you don't have multiple instances of this talent going off. It feels like it's just refreshing the timer. So you're still getting just over 1%, 1.25% per second. But each subsequent crit, while this is active, I think is just extending the duration for another 4 seconds rather than giving you like if you do 2 in quick succession, you don't get 10% capacitance over 4 seconds. And then toughness is being restored whenever I do abilities. So I think there was a moment when my toughness was down and I just did a Cord Claw Strike at nothing just to try and get my toughness back up. I think that was this match. And then there's also on a 15-second cooldown, if I take health damage, then I restore 25% toughness. So there are lots of toughness nodes in this build. I think there are still yet more available. So when I electrocute stuff, that's situational. So I'm prioritizing on the nodes, hitting 3 or more enemies. 10% over 3 seconds, that's also fairly situational, and 10% isn't quite as high as some of these other nodes could actually stack up to, and it doesn't actually last all that long. 3 seconds. I prefer the longer lasting ones, particularly this range toughness, which is all propped by the Servo Skull. And I'm getting a bit of extra rending when I'm above 3. Generally, once the match is going and you're in the thick of things, that is going up quite a lot. There's not a huge amount in terms of damage boosts. Galvanic Marking Array is the main one. If I'm sprinting, although I don't consciously use it for this damage boost, it's a nice perk. and the sequence charge, which goes off probably fairly often, and that lasts 10 seconds. That's a good amount of time. I think that's about the rundown of my build. I hope you enjoy. See you next time.